First and foremost, the governor. I remember when they was calling him the governor because he was the governor of California. He's actually a Republican, but they voted him in, and they was actually getting somebody that was halfway decent. They was calling him the governor, and he was driving a Hummer, even though they was out there in California and everybody was suffering, and they all wanted to get Priuses in order to adjust to climate change. The governor recently got stopped over in Germany, and this is why. Take a look.
Actor and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was detained for several hours by customs agents at Munich airport yesterday. Officials accused the action star of violating tax laws by failing to declare a luxury watch that he was wearing. Schwarzenegger was on his way to Austria, where the watch was going to be sold at a charity auction. Sources say Arnold tried to pay the taxes on the spot, but the customs credit card machine wasn't working. And the cash limit at the ATM was too low. So he did finally pay up when a new credit card machine was brought in. Problem solved.
Yeah. If I had a dime for every time that happened. No, it's okay.
So the governor was detained in Munich. I guess they were auctioning off a watch. I think it was an AP. So it was a pretty expensive watch. A lot of people are not familiar with having to declare certain things. And even when I go overseas or when I go out of town and stuff like that, I'm very careful about what I carry with me. I got safes, I got safe deposit boxes, I got everything. So I very rarely actually carry anything expensive with me. And make sure that y'all not checking y'all stuff inside of y'all luggage. I never check anything that's super expensive in my luggage. I keep my watches on me. I usually wear them. I've never had any problem. And if I'm ever going overseas, I never bring anything with me that's that expensive unless I'm wearing it, and I only bring one of one. I don't bring all of them. I don't bring a whole bunch of them. So be careful with the laws when you're traveling, because they will take your stuff. They will detain it. They are aware of what it is that you got going on, and you don't want to get caught up in these streets, man. All right, just something a little fun. But in other news, Jonathan Majors was recently dropped from another movie. Another one. So I know that he was doing his interviews. I don't know who advised him to do an interview, but he was doing his interviews and he was breaking down why he felt like he was the victim when he was convicted with his former ex, Grace Jabari. Now, it's funny because when I was going through and I was looking at the different content to see who was reporting on this, nobody was really reporting on the fact that Jonathan Majors just got dropped from another movie. It was the Dennis Rodman biopic that he got dropped from. So he got dropped from that movie. And it's funny because if you look at over a year ago when he first signed on to the movie, guess what he was talking about? I'm going to bring you up to speed. It's weird. It's very, very weird.
Incredible movie. Didn't know the story. Did you know the story?
I'm going to fast forward it a little bit because I actually want to get to a certain part in this interview, all right?
The first person that came to mind was this gentleman. There's such a specific richness and depth to capture there. There's no one working like him right now. So Jonathan was always Jesse.
Did you ever think that it would be the same man playing Dennis Rodman?
I didn't think those two guys were connected, but there's a common denominator now, I guess. Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
So I want to know, are we going to see Jonathan Majors in a white wedding dress a la Dennis Rodman?
Weird or no? Weird or no? See, people miss this footage. I'll be paying attention to what's happening in these streets. I'm paying attention to what's happening in these streets. The first question when the media found out that he had signed on to play Dennis Rodman was, are you going to put on a white dress? Let me keep playing it.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Gotta make a movie. We gotta make the movie, so whatever it takes.
Oh, right now, you need to promise me you're putting on a white wedding dress.
I don't know if I can promise that. We gotta figure out what the director wants, but yeah.
You reach out to Dennis, though, and say, tell me everything?
It's on my list. Yeah. I know where he's at. And I think he's open-hearted and wants to collaborate. So I want to do justice by him for sure.
We're going to address this on After Hours. If y'all want to talk about it, we're going to break it down. We're going to have a conversation. A lot of people miss that. Nobody is paying attention to it. So this is a thing. This is a thing. Jonathan Majors was recently dropped from the Dennis Rodman biopic. Specifically, it goes on to say that since being convicted of reckless assault and harassment in December, his career has spiraled. Immediately after the verdict, Marvel cut ties with him. It goes on to say, following a festival premiere last January, magazine Dreams was picked up for distribution by Searchlight Pictures, and there was a plan in place to have the film be released in early December, setting up a title as a contender for award season. The movie was taken off the release calendar in October amid Major's legal issues. The Hollywood Reporter is now saying that the indie arm of Walt Disney Studios has quietly returned rights of the movie to the filmmakers. The trade says that the plan isn't to shelve the movie, but instead shop it to other potential buyers, and then it goes on from there, so on and so forth. But essentially, they taking everything from them, while also we're unveiling previous footage of them asking him of whether or not he want to wear a white dress. I'm not a fan of people, having conversations about men wearing dresses in movies, but that's just me. And then last but not least, some good news, ladies and gentlemen. Spelman College, a female and her husband, allegedly they are billionaires. Spelman College recently got $100 million donation into their endowment. I want to see Umar Johnson praising these people, but this is the news and this is what's happening.
An exclusive and historic announcement comes from Spelman College. This is very exciting. The historically black women's college in Atlanta has been ranked #1 HBCU for 17 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. The college produces the highest number of black women who go on to receive their PhDs in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now let's listen in to the Spelman board chair. Her name is Lavette Russell, who is addressing Spelman students at a school assembly in the Sisters Chapel right now.
Welcome and good morning to all our Spelman community and especially my young Spelman sisters. As a student, I experienced the power of this historic institution and how it transforms the futures of talented young women. And today, as board chair, I know that some of the brightest young women who dream about coming to Spelman are facing financial hardships and barriers to a higher education. What I am sharing with you today is a major step to ensure more young women can achieve their dreams at Spelman College.
As we help celebrate this transformative gift to Spelman, we are very excited. There she is. Look at Madam President, Dr. Helene Gayle. She's here in the studio to discuss this historic announcement. I was watching your face, Dr. Gayle, as Mrs. Russell was talking. I know. I could feel it. I could feel it, yes.
We are back now.
So essentially, Spelman received a donation that was made by businesswoman and philanthropist Rhonda Stryker and her husband, William Johnston. Stryker is a Spelman College trustee going back to 1997, and according to the release, has worked for decades to empower women through higher education and advance opportunities for additional marginalized groups. The school's release said $75 million of the donation will go to endowed scholarships for future students, and the other $25 million will be used to develop an academic focus on public policy and democracy, improve student housing, and provide flexible funding to meet critical strategic needs. So the donation kicks off a hashtag 100 for 100 Spelman campaign, and they have a huge endowment and a gift that's been donated to them that is supposed to set the trend for alumni and people that has been successful at HBCUs coming back and donating to their alma mater. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. I think that's absolutely. Let me say this before I get off quick hits. I'm in support of it because one of the criticisms that I've always had for HBCUs is people always tell me about how successful they are, how much they come out and they're able to do great things for the people that surround them and they being so great and all of this stuff. And then I ask myself, well, how come y'all not participating and making sure that the school have endowments similar to the Ivy League schools that y'all complain that y'all competing against and that y'all beating in education and things like that, right? So for this to happen, I'm indifferent about whether or not it should happen or it shouldn't happen because I'm not the type of person to tell people what to do with their money. But then at the same time, I'm okay with it, and I see it as a step forward in people taking responsibility and ownership of what happens within their own communities and their own universities. If it's so meaningful to you, then why don't you do something about it? Why don't you donate your time? Why don't you donate your resources? How come you're not doing the same things that you're saying that everybody else is doing to their schools, but you're not doing it also if you're so successful? So I'm kind of indifferent about it because I didn't go to an HBCU, so it's not meaningful to me, and I'm never going to tell nobody what to do with their money. But if they decide that they want to donate $100 million for whatever it is that they want to donate towards, then good for them. At least it's going towards something good and it's not going into another rapper's pocket. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits.